I want to give my top 10 prospects for the NFL draft this spring. And I just want you to kind of react, throw out your thoughts, and maybe some other players that maybe you think I might have missed. Okay? 10-1. You ready?
Let's go. All
right. 10-1. I'm going to start with, and this one might be controversial. I like a lot Zach Wilson, the quarterback at BYU. Or we're going 1-10. Oh, look at us. I thought we were going 10-1. 1-10. Okay, 1 is Trevor Lawrence. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I think you would probably agree with me. After the Clemson game, at number 2, I like Justin Fields at number 2. He's sensational and proved that he could develop as a passer in that game. Now we get into, I think, more of where we might all disagree and have different guys. My third guy, and I rarely have wide receivers this high, Jamar Chase from LSU. And I know he didn't play this year. What do you think about that?
I think I was with you until I watched the first half of this game, man. 12 catches, 215 yards, 3 tutties. The way that I look at this is Jamar Chase had 9 catches for 221 in the national championship game, right? The Peach Bowl, you saw me reacting to that last year. We saw Justin Jefferson go, 9 for 186 in one half, 4 tutties. But watching what Devontae Smith has done, even against an Ohio State secondary that I think they would agree is not their best, has me really thinking about him being wide receiver 1 off the board, because if you can take a wide receiver screen 22 yards around the end and get to the corner, there's a space for you in the NFL, and I think that's the kind of guy you can take first.
And I look at what speed has done in the NFL, in particular from the slot position. And I don't think you have to be the monster on the outside anymore to have a successful year. He is and here's the reason that I think Devontae, and I'm going to get to Devontae, so let me just keep going. At number 4, and this is my first defensive player, Micah Parsons. We didn't see him. He was an opt-out, but you talk about athleticism, sideline to sideline, can play inside the box. He can cover outside the box, which I think linebackers have to do. I like Micah Parsons at Penn State, number 4. And number 5, here we go. Here's a changeup at 5. Are you ready for this? Rashawn Slater is my actual top offensive lineman available from Northwestern, not Penei Sewell from Oregon. I got Rashawn Slater at number 5. Go ahead, just react. I know I'm going to get it here.
All right, no. All right, I'm with this on 2 counts, right? If you're looking at him as a versatile offensive lineman, as a guard, and you think that he's as good as Quentin Nelson, sure, I'm with that. But at 6'3", a dude that still have a little problem anchoring, a guy that I don't really trust in the left tackle spot, but can certainly down block from the right tackle spot. Sure, I can be there, but here's my thing. Why Rashawn Slater and say not Wyatt Davis, right? Is it because you're projecting him as a tackle, or is it because you think he's just that good of an offensive lineman?
I think that he can be a tackle. But I think that he can be a dominant lineman wherever he's at. Maybe not left tackle. That might be the only spot that I don't think, but I think he's plug and play. I do see similarities to Quentin Nelson. His strength, his athleticism, his ability to be fluid, low to the ground, I think is rare, and powerful there too. And I will say at number 6, I do have Penei Sewell. So Sewell's right there. He's a freak. And this is what, to be honest with you, RJ, here's what I can't stand analyzing the draft at times, because when I rank a guy like that, people will be like, well, why do you hate Sewell? I'm like, I don't. I love Sewell. He's an awesome player. I have him as my 6th best prospect in the entire draft. But because I have one tackle that I like a little bit more, people think I don't like Penei Sewell. Sewell is unbelievable. He's a freakish athlete. And I might be eating my words here with Slater one spot above him, but Sewell is going to be, I think, a Pro Bowl, all-pro level offensive tackle for a long time.
So you really have a 5A and a 5B is what you have, right? No, I'm with that. Penei came out 6'5" and 331 at 16 years old, right? We all knew what he was going to be. And this is also a dude that was the 2019 Polynesian Player of the Year, Ko. The other guy, dude named Tua Tagovailoa. You can't do much better than that as an offensive lineman. And to look at him, I still think he's growing, man. His waist is so skinny to be so large, and for him to be that athletic. I don't know. I would hedge. But that's just me. I'm not as brave as you to go out there and go get the guy from Northwestern and the guy that literally fell off the radar. I really got to give that to you, because he didn't play. You didn't see him. And we all knew about some of the guys that were opting out, but certainly not him. But if you were looking back in January and you were talking about the best offensive lineman in the country, he's on the list. So I like to see Rashawn Slater. I hope he can show out at some of these combine and pro events.
I do too. And by the way, for the record, you've got 3, 4, 5, and 6 all opt-outs. All opt-outs. And we don't have an opt-out at number 7. I love this guy, Kyle Pitts at Florida. I think he's the prototype modern-day flex tight end, dangerous threat. And here's the thing that people don't understand is that, and Gronk has proven this, although Gronk is probably a little bit more physically dominant, obviously, than Kyle, who's more of that flex speed tight end type. A great tight end is such a weapon. It makes you dangerous in the red zone, makes you dangerous on third down. They are a matchup nightmare. I love Kyle Pitts at number 7.
I can't argue with this. I would even just add a story if you let me. Like,
please.
Kyle Pitts coming out of the Philly area, right? He goes to his high school coach at Abington Senior and says, "Hey, coach, I want to play tight end." They said, "We're going to have you play quarterback. What are you talking about?" He says, No, coach, I'm a tight end. Let me play tight end. They asked him to get down in a 3-point stance, and they said, "No, you'll never make it. That stance isn't good enough." And I think they were trying to really just talk him into playing quarterback, which nobody really needs to do, right? And then you get this kid coming home to his parents saying, "I want to transfer because they won't let me play tight end," which is real. So he transfers to Archbishop Wood. They said, "You're not going to play quarterback here. You're 6'5". You're 230 pounds. You're going to play what? You want to play tight end? Cool. As long as you play defensive end on the other side, we're fine. Whatever you want to do, kiddo." So he plays both ways for them and has an outstanding career. Goes to a place at Florida where he's in a tight end logjam, quite honestly. And I think of him as a wide receiver. And I want to get your thoughts on this because I have an issue now with these tight ends that are freaks. Like I think of Darnell Washington and Eric Gilbert in particular, Georgia and LSU, or Eric Gilbert's transferring. But do you think they should be going into the draft as tight ends when they're going to be used and they're going to make a little bit more money as wide receivers? And I look at Kyle Pitts and they line him up on the numbers. What good does it do him to go in as a tight end, even if that's where they end up playing him most of the time?
That's a great question. I mean, I don't think it matters, and I don't think his team is going to care. You know, like I think that whether he's labeled a wide receiver or labeled a tight end, I don't think that they're going to care so much. I do believe that for them, in their mind, if Kyle Pitts is just a wide receiver, he's probably not straight line fast enough to be considered a great wide receiver. But when you say he's a tight end, now all of a sudden you're like, well, that's the best tight end I've seen in a long time. There's just like this change mentally that happens. And I think that means dollars, to be quite honest with you. If he's labeled a wide receiver at Florida, if he comes out as a wide receiver, maybe we're not talking about him as much. But when you say he's a tight end, you see what he does as a flex, you see what he does to safeties and the matchup problem that he is, I think that means dollars. And I think that's why he wants to keep that tight end next to his name. But I mean, shoot, I could be wrong. I think you bring up a good point. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. Here's your guy, by the way, number 8, Devontae Smith, wide receiver, Alabama. He's ridiculous, dude. Like,
yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
I don't get it. Now, here's what's wild, RJ. If Waddle never gets hurt, one, Devontae doesn't win the Heisman Trophy. Mac Jones probably does. Maybe even Trevor Lawrence. 2, I think Waddle's probably the best prospect of the bunch, but he's hurt. And you see he tried to play tonight, through that ankle injury, came up hobbled and really hasn't been back on the field. Like, you hate to say it, but like, Devontae Smith is not Devontae Smith unless Waddle gets hurt, because they were just going to split all the catches. They were just going to be the dynamic duo on the outside. But as it turns out, Waddle goes down, Smith takes off, and now I think Smith's going to get taken in front of Waddle in the draft.
And you know what? I think that's the way that it's going to be. But also, like, take this into account if I'm Jalen Waddle's agent. This dude is the best player at Alabama. The second best player at Alabama won the Heisman Trophy. That's how you project Jalen Waddle going forward. Now, I'm with you. He didn't play. Devontae steps up and does an outstanding job at 5'11", 175. Now, as a shorter, lighter dude, for people to keep referencing how much shorter and lighter I am than my peers, I might feel some kind of way about that.
What's your numbers? I need numbers. I need numbers, RJ. What are you rolling?
Dude, no, man. Like, they can't find me a fight, right? Like, I'm 5'5", 130. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, I love it.
If they want it, they can get it. We can make that happen. However, we're talking about DeVonta Smith. And what I really think that he has that nobody else has in this draft is his change of pace. Like, I've called him Barry Sanders out on the numbers. And I'm sure that there's some old heads that want to come after me for that. But I submit to you, show me somebody else. Show me somebody else at a phone booth that's making 3 dudes miss, right? And maybe we'll point to Najee Harris after that play he made in the first half. My goodness, is he just legit? And then running through the tackles that way. But no, like, if DeVonta Smith is at 8, let's say, in the draft, and you have the opportunity to take him and say, let's say Justin Fields, who are you going to take? You going to take the quarterback if you have a quarterback need, or are you going to take the best player in the draft?
I think you got to take the quarterback. Okay. I'm a big believer in that. Now I've come around a little bit, but I got to tell you, like, I'm a little bit of a, I don't know if an elitist is the right term, but like, are
we talking playoff expansion now or no?
No. I just like, I'm not, well, let me just put it to you this way. Name the team that their best offensive player was a wide receiver that won the Super Bowl, in particular in the modern era.
Man, I got nobody I'm coming up with. I mean,
people say Jerry Rice, but it's like, dude played with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Julio would have probably been the answer if the Falcons hold on against the Patriots a couple of years ago. But so to me, when you're drafting, you cannot sit there and be like, oh, we'll figure out quarterback. We have to get a wide receiver first, you know? So that would be my answer. Let me get to my last 2 here of my top 10 prospects. I'll just list them both. I've got Patrick Surtain from the corner from Alabama, and then I've got Zach Wilson, the quarterback from BYU. I think Surtain's going to be the top corner off the board, and I think Zach Wilson played himself into a mold. And depending, by the way, Mac Jones a little bit, but I think those quarterbacks are going to be the ones that are talked about in the middle of the first round.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.